Hey, welcome back to Cool Classics. Today we're going to take a look at the life and career of Barbara Feldon, who played Agent 99 on Get Smart. I got a couple cool clips, and there's a really good story of how she got the role on the show. So stay tuned, here we go. She was born Barbara Ann Hall, March 12, 1933 in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Barbara was a very smart child. By the time she was in first grade, she was already reading at a fifth grade level. She spent most of her time in her room with books or practicing ballet. Now, when she went to high school at Bethel Park High, she also got interested in the rest of the performing arts, and she started taking classes at the Pittsburgh Playhouse while still in school. After graduating, she enrolled at the Carnegie Institute of Technology, and she was initiated into the Delta 11 chapter of Kappa Kappa Gamma. And in 1955, she graduated from there with a Bachelor of Arts degree in drama, and then she moved to New York City.
So I guess that my early education made me feel like I was not a success, made me feel that I had to be a perfectionist. I have outgrown that now, I'm very happy to say. It's the A student syndrome, that if it's an A, it should be an A+, if it's a B, it should be a B+, and then an A, and then an A+. So that you're constantly leaping toward more and more perfection, so that you never have a chance to say, hey, what level is just being human? I don't believe there is such a thing as failing.
When Barbara was living in New York, she spent most of her time writing poetry and hanging out in Greenwich Village. This is when she joined HB Studios and started taking acting lessons. While there, she was performing in a Broadway review of the Ziegfeld Follies. Well, one night when she got off stage, her and the rest of the showgirls in the cast were offered a chance to try out for a game show. All you had to do was complete this basic knowledge written test and see if you qualify. Well, they all went ahead and did it, and she scored a 100%. And she said, I don't even know how that happened. It seemed like it was easy, but at the same time, I really wasn't trying hard. Well, the producers of the $64,000 question game show were very impressed. Up to that point, nobody had scored a 100%. So they contacted Barbara and invited her on the show. She came on one week, and guess what? She wins. They invite her back for the next week. She wins again. And this went on for consecutive weeks to where she worked her way all the way up, and it was going to be for the big grand prize, $64,000. And they told her the category was going to be on Shakespeare, so she studied and cram tested really hard. She said she was just living Shakespeare for a while. Now, the game show did get in trouble 1 year later for giving people the answers ahead of time, but Barbara says they didn't do that for her. They just told her the category. And so, yes, she did study really hard, and she won. She actually went on to win $96,000 total, which would be something like just under $900,000 in today's money. Now, from here on out, things just continued to get better for her. She had already done a little bit of modeling, and she appeared in a few magazine advertisements. But now, since they seen her on $64,000 game show, they were asking her to appear in television commercials. And of course, she went for it, and boy, did she do good.
I want a word with all you tigers. Oh, you men know which ones you are. I like you. But I don't like lions. You know, men with wild, dry manes. The kind with lots of dandruff. And then there are the greasy bears. The ones who slick down their hair. But that only makes dandruff worse. I always give them the brush. Yeah, I like tigers. Men who use top brass hairdressing. Top brass fights dandruff because it's medicated. See, it says right here, top brass has medicated ingredients to fight dandruff. And top brass is non-greasy. So remember that, tiger. Get the medicated hairdressing, top brass, and stick 'em.
Now, that commercial was a huge success. Anytime they would play it in a new market, sales of top brass would skyrocket in that area. So they ran it nationwide for over 2.5 years. And during this time, she was getting requests from so many other companies to be in their commercials. And she took on a lot of them. A lot of like beauty products and skincare, soap, deodorant, detergents. It was like a whole nother career for her. She also got married to Lucien Feldon in 1957, right before all this was happening. So that's how she got her last name. Now, with all of the modeling that she had done, the magazine advertisements, the TV commercials, she had a pretty good portfolio. So when she showed up in 1964 and auditioned for a TV show called East Side, West Side, they hired her to play Joanna. This was her debut on television.
How many times in my life have I done this? Have to go out of town for a play. The glamour of the theater. 2 weeks in Philadelphia. Rehearse all day, perform at night, sit around the stage until 2 in the morning getting notes. Never see a bit of the city. Back and forth from the hotel room like a zombie. When I die, they can put on my gravestone, better here than in Philadelphia. You know, I usually look forward to going out of town. This time I have a feeling it's going to be kind of lonely. I know what I want.
Later that same year, she appeared on 2 episodes of the TV series Flipper. Then in 1965, she appeared on an episode of The Man from U.N.C.L.E. called The Never Never Affair. Then she landed the part of Lieutenant Claire Cummings on the TV series 12 O'Clock High.
Hi.
Oh, honey, you better get him to the altar quick. He's fading fast.
How do you feel?
Great.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, if I continue to improve, I may feel like going into Artsbury tonight for a couple of medicinal toddies. Under the care of a nurse, of course.
Isn't it amazing the way they make these miraculous recoveries as soon as a group takes off?
Hey, now, just a minute. If I had scrubbed out of a mission to Hamburg, that's goofing off. But Saint-Nazaire? Why, you hand a mission like that to these standby pilots, and it's an act of charity.
Major, you're all heart.
Nurse, help me, please.
Behave. See? Duty calls. Lieutenant Cummings. Yes? Just the one plane? Did they say how many casualties? Get set up.
Who got hit?
Flight
Yes,
emergency
thank you.
setup.
Who is flying your mission, Joe?
Hollander, Larry Hollander, why?
Because the message came from your plane. All they said was that the pilot had been very badly wounded.
Now, only a couple months later, producers Daniel Melnick and David Davis were creating a new TV show that go ahead and capitalize off of the James Bond Inspector Clouseau craze that was going on. And they had hired Mel Brooks and Buck Henry to help develop it because they wanted it to be funny. And so Don Adams signed on to play Maxwell Smart, the lead on the show, and they needed a female co-star. And they thought, hey, what about that girl in the Tiger commercial?
The character existed on paper and wasn't developed for Barbara, but when we saw, first Danny and David saw her in a commercial for I think it's Revlon or shampoo, and she was mimicking a tiger, and she was a tigress, and very sensual, and yet mischievous and totally acceptable. They asked me to look at the commercial, they sent it to me, and they all felt she'd be perfect for 99. And she was ideal.
And so Barbara signed on to play the character Agent 99 on the new series Get Smart. And to hear that it wasn't written specifically for her is kind of shocking, because as you could tell from those previous clips, that is her natural delivery style, her voice, and her mannerisms. It was a perfect match. Couldn't have been done with anyone else.
Yes, 86. Put plan 49K into effect immediately. That's 49K.
Right, 86. Hello, Control. Hello, Control.
99.
Hello. Yes, 86.
What is plan 49K?
I take the subject to my apartment. I keep it there and I don't let her out of my sight.
Right.
Right. This is Agent 99. Agent 99.
99?
Yes, 86.
What do I do?
You follow the suspect.
A couple things to take notice of the character of Agent 99 is that she was the first ever working woman in television sitcom history. Not only that, but her character was also smarter than the lead male character on the show. But of course, she always let him think it was his idea.
Max, what did you do?
Just eliminated a chaos agent.
Well, how could you be sure?
First of all, his sponge was absolutely filthy. Second, he was using horizontal strokes instead of vertical strokes. He was holding his squeegee with an overlapping lacrosse grip.
Besides, it's raining and window washers don't work in the rain.
Besides, it's raining and window washers don't work in the rain.
Good thinking, Max.
Barbara said that sometimes people would criticize her posture on the show, but this was done just to help the camera angle not exaggerate the height difference. She said that she was much taller than Don Adams, so she would regularly slouch down or bend at the knee, but bending at the knee was hurting her back, so she started to roll over onto one ankle and eventually developed a callus on her ankle from trying to match the heights of Don.
Having to wear shoes without heels.
And loving it.
She said she was the only actress in Hollywood with calluses on her ankles because she'd turn her feet in. That was indifference to Don, because Don, it made him feel better, Had I had my way, I would have emphasized the difference. I would have had her stand on an apple box and let him look up.
Now, with her career taking off and her character of Agent 99 being very empowering for women and having a mod look, her friends in Greenwich Village took notice, one of which who was Andy Warhol, and he decided to make some artwork for her, which also became a hit. And the studio at the time decided it's time to release your own song called 99, so Barbara sang away.
So you think you see a pussycat you'd like to pet. You start to come on strong to see how far you'll get. You feed the pussycat that I'm a tiger lie. You don't know that you're messing with 99.
Now, during this time, she was appearing in more television commercials, but she was also doing the narration on a bunch of them. I found a few of them. I'm going to show you one now, but let me know below if you found any other ones, because I want to actually make a really good list of these.
My new ambassador. Will I ever forget our first meeting? Spectacular. That's the word for you, Rambler. We're bigger, longer. Ambassador, largest and finest of the new Ramblers.
Special shout out to the Osborne Trayman YouTube channel. He found that Rambler footage and let me use it, but there's a longer version. There's actually 2 different versions over on his channel. Go check them out. And also, let me know who that woman is in the commercial. I know I've seen her on something before. Barbara went on to appear in all 138 episodes of Get Smart. She also got a divorce in 1967 and never remarried.
Poor Max. He was so young.
Yes, he was young.
And vital.
He was vital.
And intelligent. Loyal?
Yes, he was loyal.
Throughout the 1970s, Barbara was able to find pretty steady work. She was regularly appearing on the game shows and variety shows of the time, and she did a whole bunch of TV movies of the week.
Mystery guest, is your main profession television?
Mm-hmm. Is that because you're on a show on television regularly?
Phyllis?
Were you at one time on a show regularly?
One of those family situation comedy shows.
Was it, however, a series of some kind rather than a game show or a news show?
If it wasn't a family or a situation comedy type thing, was it a dramatic series?
Nope.
Right? Was it a musical? No music.
Arlene?
Western?
Have you ever been on this panel?
Phyllis?
Did you have a leading part?
Gene?
Was it a detective series?
Peter Falk series?
Nope.
Soupy?
Was it the series with Don Adams? Are you Barbara Feldon?
Barbara Feldon is who that
By the 1980s, it was pretty certain Barbara had been typecast. The opportunities just weren't there. She could still appear here and there in TV shows and movies of the week, but it went down to only 5 things throughout the entire 80s. The last of which was 1989's Get Smart Again TV movie.
You mentioned Dr. Hottentot and his weather machine. Is that still classified information?
What?
I wrote about Dr. Hottentot.
Well, at first, I didn't know if I could do those lines anymore. I mean, my life is so entirely different, and I'm so different than I was in those days. And yet, when Don and I got on the set, and I had to say the first, "Look out, Max," or, you know, or, "Oh, sorry, Max," or, "Oh, Max," it's just strange how easy it was to do it after all this time.
The 1990s were about the same for Barbara. She appeared on an episode of Cheers, then one episode of Mad About You, but then in 1995, Get Smart, the TV series, returned with her and Don Adams, but sadly, it only lasted 5 episodes. With only a handful of television appearances since then, Barbara spends most of her time doing what she's always loved doing, which is writing poetry and hanging out with friends. She's also very active in quite a few charities, and she has written a book called Living Alone and Loving It. Barbara says that she's one of the lucky ones. She had just enough success that she was able to save and invest wisely early on, that she doesn't have to rely on an income right now to survive. So when you see her at a meet and greet or an event, it's because she wants to be there around the fans and around her old friends and co-stars. And now for my favorite part of this video. As of August of 2021, Barbara is still alive and in great health. She's 88 years old, and I hope she lives to be 99. What an amazing story, and what a wonderful person. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe. Also, click on the card above to watch the entire Rambler commercial with Barbara Feldon. Make sure you check out my video on Melody Patterson, who played Wrangler Jane on F Troop. I have a great one on Donna Douglas, who played Ellie Mae Clampett, and a lot more. Oh yeah, Barbara Eden from I Dream of Jeannie. Cool classics.